Hello everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I want to say thank you, first of all, to everybody who liked, commented, subscribed, shared. I just love you all. It's such an honor and a joy to be on this journey with you and to be able to guide and provide insight along the way. If you'd like to book a private reading, the information on how to do that is in the description box below, or you can reach it by clicking the link on my cover photo. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Oh, I should tell you what kind of reading this is. This is a new spread that I'm doing. This is about breaking the chains. This is about literally like looking at what it is that is holding people back. So what is keeping people on this connection bound, and how do you set yourself free? Okay, so that's what we're looking at. I'm going to be using the Numinous Tarot, the Oracle of the Mermaids by Lucy Cavendish, and the Oracle of Shadows, which is a deck that I bought on Etsy. And I can, if you need the information, I can see if I can find it. But let's go ahead and get going. Spirit, please use me as a clear channel for communication. May the messages that come through be in the highest good of all those concerned. I ask that you use me to deliver the messages with wisdom, clarity, integrity, and love. I draw a sacred circle around this space, calling on my ancestors, higher wisdom, my counsel, archangels, ascended masters, and source energy. Protect this space, protect the listeners, and may this message serve the collective evolution and transcendence. Alrighty then. Let's do this. I'm shuffling right now. I've shuffled a couple of times before I started, but I want to make sure that we get the right energies in this piece. So we're going to start off with the first question I'm going to be asking Spirit is, what is it that people are currently avoiding? What is the current issue? What truth is being avoided right now? And again, this is a general message. It's not necessarily, if it resonates for you, perfect. If it doesn't resonate, please feel free to click away. Don't listen to messages if you feel triggered, if you feel like it doesn't align for you, if it's not with you. It's okay to click away. It's okay to walk away from a message. Now, remember that there's a difference between being triggered by something in a positive way, where you're like, oh, this is rubbing on a pain that I need to heal. And that's a good thing. If you feel triggered, if you feel like, it's pointing to something that you need to heal, that's great. Don't run away from that kind of energy. If it doesn't resonate though, and it's not speaking to you, cool. Walk away, no hard feelings, right? So what is currently being avoided? We've got the Chariot, temptation, and timeout. Interesting. So it's like the Chariot, forward movement, dynamic steps forward, things that need to have that boom kind of energy, that taking action, making steps forward, doing the things that you're being guided to do. All of us get guidance about what we're supposed to be doing, whether it's through readers, whether it's through our own wisdom, whether it's through messages that we receive. We're all capable of having those messages come through. And the Chariot is about moving towards success, using our willpower, forward movement, having confidence. And so what I'm getting from this is that what people are avoiding right now is taking the guidance and taking the steps that they've been guided to take. So it could be something like you've been guided to meditate for 20 minutes a day, and you've been avoiding it because sitting alone in the silence is difficult. So there's definitely that kind of energy that the people are avoiding taking the steps that they've been guided to take because it's going to require some changes. This temptation card, people are avoiding whatever. Temptation is not necessarily a bad thing, okay? But what I get is that people are actually, what message is coming through is that people are actually, could be some people indulging in temptation. This could be people that are like, spending too much time avoiding and distracting themselves because they don't want to, because the temptation, and like it's way more, it's way more exciting to like sit around and talk to your friends on Facebook, or read, do something like that, or watch marathons on Netflix, or to go out on meaningless dates, or whatever. It's like there's all those kinds of temptations are there, and if we indulge in them, we avoid. And I feel like that's what people are doing. They're indulging in temptations that are presenting themselves to avoid this time out, which is taking that time of contemplation, being alone, spending time alone, but not just sitting like alone and distracted, but alone and contemplative. There's very, very different energy with that. That's if you've been guided to take time to meditate, or to unplug from social media, or just unplug from watching videos on YouTube, but you're avoiding it, that's definitely because it's what you're not wanting to hear what's coming through, or Spirit's trying to get to you. So the advice that Spirit has for this, what action do people need to take, and what perspective do people need to adopt to be able to move through this in a positive way? Look at that. The Visionary, Messenger, and the Unseen. Sorry, a commercial just popped up on the YouTube channel. So what advice? This is the Emperor in the traditional tarot. This is like stepping into your power, taking your authority. This is like the energy that this is for me is like, if you've seen the movie Wonder Woman, I'm going to describe it. If you haven't, sorry, because I'm totally going to give you like a spoiler. So if you don't want this, then walk away or click away. But to me, what the vision that I'm seeing with this is like this piece in the movie where Wonder Woman really steps into her power, and she becomes who she is, and she like rises into herself and into her power, and by doing that, she creates progress in this situation that has been kind of stuck for a while. This is, using another movie reference, this is T'Challa in Black Panther, when he finally like recognizes who he is and takes his power and stands up for who he is and his truth. That's what this is. This is like stepping up into your truth, into your power. The advice to take is to step into that Emperor energy, to really rise into that. Like, one of the exercises that I've done with clients before, and I learned this from a friend of mine that's a life coach, is like, imagine that there's like, if you have two chairs sitting next to each other, one of them is like the you that feels like down and despondent and feels like, lacks confidence and doesn't feel powerful, that Chariot card, that when you're not feeling that, when you lack that confidence, and then in the other chair, you're the you that's like in your power and confident, and you know who you are, and you know your path, you know your vision, you know your destiny. And like to sit in one chair where you feel like down and frumpy and not powerful, and then to move into the other chair and feel into that energy of what you feel like when you are in your power. And then learn how to stay in that energy of, this is me in my power, this is me confident and unapologetic, and that's what this is like. What Spirit is saying is like, step into that power. You know what it feels like to feel powerful. Those times where you've surprised yourself and you're like, damn, I'm kind of a badass. Spirit's saying, take that energy and own it. Now there's messengers. The advice is like, there are messengers that are trying to get through to you. It could be me in this video. It could be your higher intuition. It could be signs and synchronicities that you're seeing, but there are messages that are trying to come through. Spirit saying, listen to those messages. And then the unseen, the advice is there's too much hidden from you. And what that's saying is that you need to allow what's unseen to come forward. This is like anything that you have been blocking, anything that you don't want to know. Because here's the truth, and I believe this wholeheartedly. Unless someone is a very, very, very skilled liar, and I'm talking like sociopath, narcissistic, and I'm talking like clinical sociopath, clinical narcissistic, not somebody that, people use those terms really casually in our society. People are like, oh, that's so narcissistic, when narcissism is actually a very intricate kind of pattern of behaviors. And it's not just because somebody is a selfish asshole doesn't make them a narcissist. Just because somebody seems to be unfeeling does not make them a sociopath. And those people are so freaking skilled. I've worked with, back when I was still a therapist, I worked with criminal offenders. That was how I started my career. I spent the first like 6 years of my career working with adjudicated offenders. You know, people, adjudicated means people who are convicted offenders. And so I know a sociopath. I've seen them. I've seen clinical narcissism. So what I'm saying is that, and I say all that to say that unless somebody is that, of which there really aren't that many people that are clinically narcissistic or sociopaths, unless they are that skilled, like the Ted Bundys of the world, we know when someone's lying to us. We can sense it. We can feel it. I think back about it and I'm like, it's not like I didn't have some suspicion about when people have lied to me in the past. Like if I look back, I'm completely honest with myself. I'm like, I knew that there was some shit that was going down that wasn't on the up and up. I just didn't want to know it. I didn't acknowledge it. This is saying like, look, the advice is that there's a lot that is being hidden right now. So it's time to really take a step back and look and allow yourself to see what's beneath the surface. There's something happening beneath the surface, whether it's with you, whether it's with your connection, whether it's just in general, that there's something going on. It's like literally this is saying, pay attention. Don't just ignore it because because you're afraid of seeing it. Literally pay attention. Don't just dive in right now. The advice is like, there's more to be learned. There's more to be seen. Make sure that you're checking, you're reading contracts carefully, that you're looking deeply into something. If your counterpart is saying things to you, like if you're in contact with your divine counterpart and they're saying things to you, make sure you're checking, you know, that you're not just jumping in blindly. This is a card that says, look, be cautious. There's some things that aren't known yet. So use this wisdom, step into your power and your authority. Listen to the messages that are coming to you because there's some things that you're not seeing. So what is the benefit of avoiding this forward movement and this pause and listening that Spirit is saying? So we've got the 9 of Candles, transformation, and receptivity. So what is the benefit from, what are you getting out of avoiding what Spirit has been advising you to do? There is always a benefit, okay? That's the thing that people don't understand. It's like there's always a benefit to behaviors. And sometimes the benefit is not a negative benefit. It's not a positive benefit, but it's a benefit nonetheless. The 9 of Candles, part of the benefit that you get when you're avoiding this, whatever it is that you're avoiding, is that you get to avoid the adversity that you need to face. Okay, so there is some adversity that people need to face. It's like when this candle is about like having overcome this card is about having overcome adversity, having learned, having taken the lessons and growing through it. But overcoming adversity means that that you have to overcome. It means that you have to rise above. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? It's not easy to face the things that we need to face to heal. It's not easy to do that. It's much easier to avoid it and to stay in our illusions and to stay, where it feels comfortable. This is saying like what the benefit is that you don't have to deal with the adversity and you get to avoid this transformation. I mean, again, I always say this, like there's this quote, it says that enlightenment is a destructive process. People often think, especially in these, as Jeff Brown calls them, the new cage community, because it's just another kind of bondage. A lot of people think that transformation is beautiful and that it's wonderful and it's like all these things. And I'm like, that quote, enlightenment is a destructive process. It is beautiful. It is powerful. It is wonderful. It's all of those things, and it's freaking hard. Let's just be real. You don't transform easily. Nobody transforms easily. When a caterpillar goes into its cocoon, it's dissolved completely and it's rebirthed into a butterfly. Do you think that's a fun process? Do you think that the phoenix enjoys the burning, that has to come before rising from the ashes? Of course not. It's not fun. It's not, and I'm not saying that it has to be rife with suffering, but transformation, birthing something new, like childbirth, when you're bringing something new into the world, any kind of transformative process is not fun. You look at the people, like if you ever watch those videos, which I freaking love watching, the videos of people that go through these like massive like physical transformations where they work out and they lose like 300 pounds. And there's this guy that he does this video where he did, I think it's Diamond Dallas Page from the WWE. Ooh, if you guys remember Diamond Dallas Page. I used to watch WWE when I was a kid. Anyway, he does, if you haven't seen it, look it up. He does this like yoga transformation, and it's beautiful to watch. But if you watch it, it's like the guy couldn't do anything in the beginning. It was a struggle. It was difficult. No transformation happens without some difficulty. Oftentimes we see people on the other end of the transformation and they're like, oh, that was great. Look at how beautiful. But we don't see is the pain of the transformation. We don't see them dialing it in on the treadmill, where they can only walk half a mile because they've got so much pain in their knees. But we don't see that part. We don't see the struggles in the middle of the night where they have to overcome their desire to binge eat, or you know what I mean. I hope that this is making sense. Like the transformations are always inspirational, but it's hard. None of that's easy. Okay, and so that whatever it is that you're indulging in to avoid this is keeping you from having to face that transformation. And that's the benefit. And this receptivity, what's the benefit? And the question that we're working on right now is, what is the benefit? And it's saying that you don't have to, you're blocking this receptivity. Like, because you feel because you're blocking this, you're allowing yourself to stay in that space of not being able to give and receive freely. So it feels like you can keep that shame cycle going, that I can't overcome this, I can't do this, and there's that benefit. Now, giving and receiving freely requires vulnerability. Now, people don't understand that, but it definitely requires vulnerability. To give, when you make an offer to someone to give, they can reject it. When someone opening yourself up to receive is also a vulnerable position. And so it's definitely part of the benefit is being able to avoid that. It's like that, well, I'll be open to give and receive when I, am at this place in my life, but then you're engaging in behaviors that's keeping you from reaching that space. And so it kind of keeps you from that. Do you see the cycle that I'm talking about here? I hope it's making sense. So what is the attachment? What are you currently clinging to? The beginning, the Ace of Vials, the new beginning of love. We got change and freedom. Interesting. So the Ace of Vials, what are you currently clinging to? And this is the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Vials is like the Ace of Cups. It's that new beginning in love. It's you're clinging to that, this energy of healing and this desire, and this is of course not necessarily a bad thing to cling to this new beginning in love and this overflow and that kind of energy. It's definitely not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that you're holding on to it really tightly, and anytime we hold on to something really tightly, it can choke it. Basically, it's like holding on to a butterfly and like closing your hand around it, like you're going to kill that butterfly. So this is like you're really holding on to this overflow of love that you have felt with your twin, that you felt in that connection, that you really want to feel that again. You're holding on to this resistance to change is what I'm getting from this card. It's like you're really holding on to this idea that things can change. So there's a resistance to your own personal change, okay? So there's two messages coming through. There's the resistance, and this is, again, not judgy, because God knows that I have my own shit to work out. We're all on this journey together. Like, we're all in this together. So this is not at all to make shame anybody or make anybody feel bad. It's like the one energy is this energy of being resistant to changing ourselves and our own patterns and behaviors. It's like, I've said this before, but like if you could change your entire life just by listening to mantras every morning, or saying your mantras, or saying your affirmations, or writing in your journal, if you could literally change your entire existence by investing 20 minutes a day into your own meditation and all of that work, why aren't you doing it? A lot of us do that. I mean, I do it too. Sometimes I get into patterns of what I would call self-sabotage, where I'm like, oh, I haven't been doing my affirmations, I haven't been listening to we all do it. We all stumble and struggle with that stuff. It's important to understand that. And then there's the other thing is like this clinging that people do, that change is possible. I had an interaction actually with somebody this week on one of my videos that was very, very resistant to the idea that all the unions, or all twins, may or may not come into union in this life. Very resistant to that, like that it's going to happen, like that. Well, that's the whole purpose. If it doesn't come in, if people don't think that it's possible, then they may not have the desire to change. And it was just very interesting interaction. But this attachment to that, that they do the work, that if you do the work, that this is automatically going to change the situation. There's some attachment to that idea that that it's a guarantee that people are going to come into union, or that you doing X is going to automatically lead to Y. And so people are resisting changing their beliefs and letting some of that go. So what people are attached to is freedom, independence, self-determination. Those aren't bad things, okay? It's not bad to be attached to freedom. Freedom is a good thing. Freedom is a desirable thing. However, if you're in a space where you're afraid of freedom, you're afraid of letting other people have their freedom, that if you're afraid of trusting, or if you're attached to the idea that we don't have freedom, or that there's no free will, or that there's determination, like predetermination, it can be really difficult to step into the fact and accept the idea that people do have freedom, and that everybody has freedom. Everybody can do and choose their own thing. This is about, this energy is about releasing attachment. Freedom is about releasing attachment. So it's saying, this question is like, what are we attached to? And this is saying like that the idea of releasing attachments, okay? I hope that is making sense. That I was talking to somebody, I think it was last week, about doing some discussion about the twin flame concept and ideas. And it's like, a lot of people are really, really attached to certain things, like attached to their twin, attached to the way that they think this journey is supposed to go. There's a lot of attachments that people hold onto this journey. And so people are holding on to not letting those attachments go. People are really clinging to their attachments. If you were to embrace this freedom, and embrace that your counterpart has freedom, and embrace that that people are self-determining beings, and that there's all of these things, it could shake you up and really cause you to really examine things in a different light. And I get really strongly that people are just resistant to that right now. So what is the advice for working with these things that we're attached to? So we've got the Three of Bells in reverse. Ancestors. I always like when the ancestors come up. And beauty. Wow. So the Three of Bells, this is the Three of Swords in the traditional tarot. This is the heart with the three swords through it. It's a betrayal card. This could be, often I see this as a third party situation. Somebody who is like has a third party situation, who has maybe a karmic partner, has cheated on you, as some kind of, or if it's not another person, it's that they abandoned you for somebody or something else. Work, something along those lines. And so there's that heartbreak. Now this is about, the advice is like, it's time to move through that. It's time to move through whatever feelings, like forgive the other person, forgive yourself, move through this energy. It's time to release it. It's time to let go. How you can do that is call upon your ancestors. Y'all remember that we have people, like if we look back at the hardships that our ancestors have faced and the wisdom that they went through, I remember when I was giving birth to my son, or when I was preparing to, and there was all this like, do you want to have an epidural? Do you want this? And I decided to have an unmedicated childbirth twice, both of my kids unmedicated. And one of the things that I said was like, are you kidding me? Like my ancestors, like I have indigenous Native American background, and I'm like, my ancestors, you know, used to do this by themselves, like they just go in the woods, squat by and deliver their own babies. Like I come from a strong line of women that have been doing this for centuries, decades, you know. I drew upon that, literally drew upon that ancestral strength to be able to do that. And so this is saying, look, you have ancestral strength to pull on, to draw upon. And it's really important to be able to do that. That's the advice. And this is saying, like, look at the beauty of the situation. It's like, did it suck to be betrayed? Absolutely. Did it hurt? For sure. But did you learn something? Did you become a better person? Like that energy. But did you die? It didn't kill you. It made you stronger. It made you a better person. Or hopefully it did. So look at the beauty of the situation. Look how you grew and how much strength you realize you have now that you might not have realized that you had before. So the final position, or the final cards I'm going to pull, excuse me, is what is the benefit of following this advice? What is the benefit of releasing this heartbreak, forgiving, moving forward, calling upon the ancestors, and seeing the beauty in the situation? How will that benefit you? So we've got the Mystic of Tomes, memory, and Sanctuary. Holy cow, beautiful. The Mystic of Tomes in reverse. The tomes are pentacles in the traditional tarot. So this is like in the material world. So how will this benefit you in the material world if you follow that advice that just came through, to release things, to let things, you know, to heal and release and move forward? Is the that it will help you to move through any energy of being, you know, why so serious, which is funny because we've got this kind of clown face here. I don't know what that is. Maybe that is a dummy, a puppet. Anyway, so this is like, it'll help you to release this serious energy. It's like, this is like if you've been punishing yourself, a lot of people punish themselves. Okay, it's like, this is a person who like picks up a backpack full of rocks, fills their backpack full of rocks, puts it on, starts walking, and then complains about how heavy it is. Okay, you may have been in a place of like punishing yourself consciously or unconsciously for your behaviors. You may have been in a space where it's like you have been negatively, like you haven't allowed yourself to have fun, or you haven't allowed yourself to have freedom because you've been feeling like you're like punishing yourself, like I don't deserve this, I was wrong, this was bad, whatever. And so it's literally saying like, you don't have to continue doing that. If you follow this advice, if you forgive yourself, forgive your counterpart, forgive whatever has gone on, release that energy. It will literally be like taking off the backpack full of rocks, taking the rocks off, and rocks off. That totally has a different meaning. It's like Dr. Freud would have a heyday with that, Dr. V. Sorry, I just went down a whole like psychology joke in my head. There was like this, literally like this whole like stand-up psychology thing that just went through my brain. Anyway, so it's about literally, it will be forgiving, it'll be freeing yourself. You take that advice to forgive yourself, your counterpart, move through that energy, see the beauty in the situation. You're gonna take that backpack off full of rocks, and you're gonna free yourself. You're gonna set yourself free to be able to move on your journey without all of the stuff weighing you down. And then your memories will feel more positive. These memories will feel more, not so negative, not so like dark. If you've been feeling a lot of negative energy towards your counterpart or towards yourself, or you've just been feeling kind of caught in some, you know, the memories have been a little bit, you know, more difficult than you would like them to be. This will actually help you heal your memory. When you have unforgiveness, it can taint the way you see the world. It can taint the way you see others. When all you can see is what they did wrong or how they hurt you, it's gonna be hard to look back at and have any kind of good memories around it. So it's really important to be able to, like, doing this will actually, what I'm getting is, it will actually help you heal your memories. And that will be very positive. And then look at this. It will take you back to the space of sanctuary. If you follow this advice, you're going to feel that sense of sanctuary, of peace, where you're going to have like you're going to feel sacred space. You're going to have that just that sense of sanctuary, of protection. Now, I don't know if you all know this, but sanctuary it comes from in the past, and it's still like that today in many places, that people can claim sanctuary. That was what churches were about. I'm thinking about in England. Their Disney movie, what the hell was it called? It was I don't freaking remember, but it shows this in the movie, and if you have a chance to look it up, it was the Quasimodo. Esmeralda was the princess, and I cannot for the life of me remember what movie it is, but I'll see if I can find a clip and I'll post it in the comments. But it's literally, sanctuary was a place of protection, okay? It was a place of safety. So if somebody was being persecuted or somebody was on the run, and I'm going to start crying now because it's just such a beautiful energy, like where people are headed, that sanctuary is a safe place. So if people were being pursued by the government in an unjust way, or they were being pursued and their lives were at risk, they could run into a church and claim sanctuary. And if they were in that as long as they were in that church, they were protected. So I'm really feeling a lot of emotions right now because there's a lot of immigrants right now, especially there's some people that I'm aware of in Denver that have been living in a church for months and they can't leave the premises because they're claiming sanctuary. It's a place of protection. So in this Disney movie, this guy is on the run. He's being persecuted, and he runs into a church, and he gets in there, and he yells sanctuary from the top, and he's safe there. And so this is where people are headed: sanctuary, safety, free from feeling persecuted and feeling that pain of being hurt and feeling like, all of that comes when you're without sanctuary, where you don't feel that sense of peace. That's what is ahead. Following that is what you will feel safe again. You'll feel like you're being protected. You'll feel that sense of peace. And sanctuary is a space of peace. And follow this advice, follow what Spirit has brought forward today, and it will allow you that sense of sanctuary where you're able to rest. I mean, if those of you, I've heard some of you in the comments, or I've read, I guess I didn't hear the comments, but I heard the comments from a lot of people. I've been having difficulty sleeping and just not feeling at peace and just feeling a lot of anxiety, that this will actually, following this advice will help to release a lot of that and will help to get you back into a space of feeling that inner sanctum, that inner peace again. It may have been missing for you for a long time. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading. Please let me know if you have any questions, if you'd like me to do more along these lines. I've had a few people comment and saying they really like the more of the healing, a lot of the healing energy videos where it gives people advice on how to transform the situation. So let me know if this resonates and if you'd like me to do more of these, or if you have other videos that you'd like to see. Feel free to comment on in the comments and let me know. So I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.